Hey, you saw the headline and had to click, right? I don't blame you, because this news right here? It hit like a lightning bolt through Cowboys Nation. Jalen Ramsey, yes, that Jalen Ramsey could actually be on the move again. And guess what? The Dallas Cowboys are officially in the conversation this time. And no, it's not just one of those lazy, every big name gets linked to the Cowboys kind of things. This has substance, real legs. So here's the scoop. NFL insiders Ian Rapoport and Tom Pelissero dropped the bombshell. Ramsey and the Miami Dolphins are mutually exploring trade options for 2025. It's not speculation. It's not smoke, it's real talk. Now, I know what you might be thinking. We're talking about a superstar corner. It's gonna cost a fortune, right? But hold up, this is where it gets spicy. Ramsey's contract shows a $25.1 million guarantee for 2025, but that number is actually closer to $21.1 million. Why? Because the Dolphins already paid out a $4 million roster bonus. That's a huge difference, and it matters big time. And here's the best part: because of that hefty contract, the Dolphins aren't in a position to ask for a first, second, or even a third-round pick. We're probably talking fifth or sixth rounders, maybe a combination of late picks. In other words, the Cowboys could seriously be looking at a low-risk, high-reward trade opportunity. Now imagine this: Ramsey in a Dallas uniform, locking down receivers across from Trevon Diggs. That's not just a headline, it's a potential reality. Quick break here. If you love getting the inside scoop on stories like this, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification bell. We're pushing hard to hit 13,000 subscribers, and your support helps this community grow. But here's the big question I want to throw to you. Is this just another case of the Cowboys being connected to a big name for clicks, or is there something real here this time? Drop your take in the comments. I want to know what you think. Alright, let's dive deeper, because the more we look at this move, the more it actually starts to make sense. Now that we've got the shock factor out of the way, let's talk about why this move would actually make a ton of sense for the Cowboys. I'm not just talking about star power. Here's the deal: Jalen Ramsey isn't some rental. His contract runs through 2028, and if you take a second to look at the Cowboys core doc, Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Osa Odighizuwa, Tyler Smith, and yes, even Trevon Diggs, they're all locked in around that same window. That's not a coincidence. That's called building a championship foundation, and Ramsey could fit right into that blueprint. And get this, Dallas had their eyes on Ramsey way before now. Remember the 2016 NFL draft? Jerry and Stephen Jones were this close to taking Ramsey with the 4th overall pick. But they ended up going with Ezekiel Elliott instead, and look, Zeke gave us some amazing moments, no doubt. But imagine if they'd gone with Ramsey back then. Different story, right? Drop a comment and let me know if you were sitting in Jerry's chair in 2016. Would you have gone with Ramsey or stuck with Zeke? Now fast forward to today. Ramsey's still a high-level corner with elite instincts, incredible physicality, and the kind of football IQ you just can't teach. He's long, aggressive, and thrives in man coverage, exactly what this Dallas defense demands under Mike Zimmer. And when you stack him next to Diggs and Darren Bland, that's not just a strong corner group, that's a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. More than just a physical fit, Ramsey brings the kind of swagger and toughness that this team feeds on. He's a tone setter. And if you're trying to win in January, and let's be real, it's all about January, those are the guys you want in your foxhole. And hey, if you're liking this breakdown so far, make sure to hit that bell icon so you don't miss the next Cowboys alert. We've got you covered every step of the way. Alright, coming up next, we're gonna answer the one question that's probably on your mind. What kind of player is Jalen Ramsey right now? Stick around, because the numbers might surprise you. Alright, let's get into it, because I know what you might be thinking. Yeah, Ramsey was elite. But is he still that guy Fair question, let's break it down. Jalen Ramsey turned 30, and for some players, that's when the decline begins. But in Ramsey's case, the dude is still balling. In the 2024 season, he played in 96.2% of defensive snaps basically every single play for the Dolphins defense when he was on the field. That alone tells you he's healthy and trusted. Now let's talk production. He notched 2 interceptions, allowed just 3 touchdowns all year, and gave up 500 receiving yards across an entire season. Those are not past his prime numbers. Those are still a lockdown corner numbers, and he did it while constantly being matched up against the opposing team's best wideouts. But it's not just about stats. It's about fit, Ramsey's specialty, press man coverage. That's exactly what Mike Zimmer loves to run. Zimmer's defense thrives when the corners can get physical at the line and stick to their man, freeing up the rest of the defense to get aggressive. That's Ramsey's bread and butter. Now imagine Ramsey alongside Trevin Diggs and Darren Bland. That's 3 corners who can cover, tackle, and make plays. You're not just patching a hole, you're creating one of the most dangerous secondary in the entire NFL. And let's not overlook his experience. Ramsey's played in huge games. He's been to the Super Bowl. He's not going to flinch when the lights are brightest. That's exactly what Dallas has been missing in those make-or-break playoff moments. A calm, commanding presence who's been there before. So here's the question for you. Do you think Jalen Ramsey is still elite? Vote in the comments. Type 1 if you think he's still got gas in the tank. Type 2 if you think he's past his prime. And hey, if you've made it this far, that probably means you love the Cowboys just as much as we do. So go ahead and subscribe, it helps us a ton as we push toward 13,000 strong in the Cowboys Nation. Next up, we've talked about everything that makes this trade seem perfect. But there's one big problem that could ruin the whole thing. And it's not about money, age, or talent, it's about politics. Stick around. Now, here's where things get tricky. Even with Jalen Ramsey still playing at a high level, even with his contract being manageable, even with the Cowboys' defense being the perfect fit, there's a major roadblock that could shut everything down before it even starts. And that roadblock has a name: David Maluiter. That's Jalen Ramsey's agent Tan. If you've been following Cowboys news for a while, that name might ring a bell. Maluiter has had a rocky relationship with Jerry Jones and the Cowboys front office for years. We're talking about public disagreements, tension in past negotiations, and a general lack of trust. Back in 2020, things really got heated when Maluiter was vocal on social media about how the Cowboys handled certain player situations. It didn't sit well with Jerry, and in this league, especially in Dallas, relationships matter a lot. You know how Jerry is. If there's one thing he values more than talent, it's loyalty and personal connection. Now throw this into the mix. Ramsey has publicly backed his agent in the past. When people tried to criticize Maluiter, Ramsey didn't stay quiet, he doubled down, defending his guy at every turn. That kind of loyalty is admirable, sure, but it also means you're not separating player from agent in a deal like this. And this wouldn't be the first time an agent relationship blocked a potential move. Around the league, we've seen strained agent-owner dynamics derail trades and signings that made perfect football sense. Unfortunately, business isn't always just business. So here's my question to you. Should Jerry Jones put personal pride aside and pull the trigger anyway? Let me know in the comments. Comment yes if you think the Cowboys should go all in on Ramsey despite the agent drama, or nitrogen monoxide if you think it's just not worth the risk. And hey, if you're into this kind of behind-the-scenes breakdown, show some love with a sub and hit that bell. We've got more deep dives like this coming your way, and you won't want to miss them. Now, let's wrap this all up. Is this trade really worth it? Or is it just another flashy name that'll fade away? Stick around for our final verdict. Alright, we've covered the why and the how of a potential Jalen Ramsey trade for the Dallas Cowboys, but now it's time for the big question. Is it worth it? Let's break it down. First off, the cost of the trade would likely be low, probably some late-round draft picks, maybe a couple of them. In today's NFL, that's not a huge risk. Plus, the Cowboys are in a solid position to manage their salary cap. With a bit of contract restructuring, you could free up space to make this move work without blowing up the roster or your financial future. And let's not forget, this isn't just about football stats. Ramsey would bring serious value to the locker room. A Super Bowl champion, a Pro Bowl player, and someone who knows what it takes to win the biggest games. The mentality, the attitude, the leadership, those are priceless qualities for a team looking to make a deep playoff run. And let's face it, the Cowboys need all the leadership they can get if they're serious about competing for a championship in the coming years. As far as needs go, the Cowboys still have some glaring holes in their roster. They need a CB1, a WR2, a RB1, and a one-tech defensive tackle. Adding Ramsey to that cornerback room would fill a major void. Not only would it make the defense even stronger, but it would also allow the Cowboys to develop other young talents like Darren Bland in a less pressure-packed role. Here's the thing, if this trade happens, it could change the course of Dallas' defense. They'd go from having a solid secondary to having one of the most devastating in the NFL with Ramsey, Diggs, and Bland all together. Now that's a scary thought for any offense. So here's my final take. Despite the issues with the agent, this is a trade worth pursuing. The upside far outweighs the potential complications, and for a team that's one piece away from being elite, this could be the move that pushes them over the top. What do you think? Would you make the trade? Comment below with your thoughts. Would you go all in for Ramsey or pass? And if you're excited for more Cowboys content, help us reach 13K subscribers. Hit that subscribe button and share this with your fellow Cowboys fans.